Thanks for joining us for another episode of the Four Train Savages podcast, episode number 244. Today is Friday, May 29th. The Yankees just finished up a series in Kansas City, sweeping the Kansas City Royals. That makes it 14 straight wins against the Kansas City Royals dating back to 2024 of the ALDS. Funny enough, Tyler, that is a long time for the Royals not to be winning in games. And even when you have some of the worst teams in
Bad
baseball,
season for the Royals,
it
dude.
seems as though, I mean, it's talk about owning a team. I know we've said this for the Yankees, like dating back to when they'll play the Orioles when they'd hit so many home runs against them, or whenever they play lesser opponents. And I guess the Royals have joined that list, though. They got some players. They got potential MVP in Bobby Witt. And that first game was the most competitive one where we had some Anthony Volpe heroics to help win the game. And then once it followed up in game two and game three, it was just the Yankees owning the Royals. And that's what the story of the series, but a really good way for them to get back on track. There's a lot of updates since we last spoke. I was on vacation. We were both out for a little bit, so we're back. A lot of things to talk about. Tyler, I think that, though, just side note, the New York Knicks are doing pretty well.
Yeah, man, I'd say they're doing not bad.
They're not doing bad. So for any Yankee fans that are also Knicks fans, it's an exciting time to see some winning.
And you
Not
better be
only
a Knicks fan if you like basketball in New York, because like the Nets aren't real.
Nets got to go back to New Jersey. I apologize to any Brooklyn Nets fans, but it is rough for that franchise being now seeing how it's flipped around. But it's an exciting time for New York sports fans, and I think it's really cool that the whole city is getting behind them, and now seeing the Yankees too get things back on track, because following or before this Kansas City series, they lost three straight. Lost the series or split the series versus Toronto, and then lost the first game where Cole pitched on that Friday against Tampa. So they're getting back on track, and then they're finishing off the road trip against the Athletics this weekend, and then they'll play Cleveland and Boston at home. So right now they're sitting, I believe it's 1.5 games back from the Tampa Bay Rays. So they've
Yep.
gained a little bit of ground. They're still, they both have the same amount of wins, but they're back in the loss column. They've played a couple extra games. So what have been your
Rays
impressions
have
of
lost
what?
four straight, and Yanks have won four straight.
Yeah. So, and I mean, if you look at the run differential, I think the Yankees right now are at 8 + 89, and then the Rays are at +24.
Yeah.
So, and I talked about this with Alex Day on our last episode, and he made the good point that the Yankees are, in a way, they're the ones that are standing in the way of themselves. Like, they are going to be,
hmm
they're who is going to determine this division. Like, the Rays, I think, are a quality team in the American League. Don't get me wrong, but the
I
Yankees
do
with
think
the
they're
talent.
good. Like that lineup is nice.
The Yankees with this talent, though, with this pitching staff now, and having Aaron Judge on this roster, and still having some good boppers in the lineup like a Cody Bellinger with Stanton coming back,
Dude, Belly's been unreal.
they're gonna be determining who is, like, they should win this American League East. And I know it's only May 29th, but that's the impression that we get as Yankee fans, and I think the rest of baseball fans kind of see it that way as well. But what have you thought of this last stretch? What are some of your what are your impressions of what's been recently happening with the Yankees,
Yep.
and what are you kind of vibing with for this team?
Yeah, yeah, man. I mean, just because I haven't been here in a minute, the race series was a little, you know, disheartening to watch at times, but they didn't feel like they got mopped around at all. Especially, it was nice to see Gerrit come out and look disgusting in two straight starts that he's come back. So it's like,
Mhm.
does that just mean Garrett Cole is Garrett Cole again? Looks like Ben Rice is catching a little bit of a heater. Judge obviously had the big moment that feels like that's gonna in some way propel the rest of his season. But
Mhm.
I think, like you said, Rob, I mean, the Yanks kind of are in a position where it almost feels like they can dictate how the rest of the season goes. Like Michael Kay's been saying it all year on his radio show. Like, this team should win 95 games in their sleep, right? It's up to them when they decide to address the bullpen, when they decide to get LeGrand up. It depends, how they're going to handle their starters going into the second half of the year. Like, are you going to see some phantom IL stuff because they just don't care? I don't know, but I hope it seems like there's urgency to win the division this year, but um, obviously totally up to them. Um, but Rob, they beat Central teams. I'm happy they beat the crap out of the Royals. I kind of expect them to play well against the A's, even though I do like the A's. They are in first place. I don't even think they're .500 right now, though.
Hmm.
So like, you're kind of going through a weird stretch where I have a feeling the Yankees are going to be streakily good again. And then I'm trying to see, when do we play, like,
It's June,
because
man. We're getting to June though. Got to avoid the
yeah,
June swoon. So
that's true. But you're going KC, A's, Guardians, which the Guardians are good, but they're the same team as last year. The AL just sucks. Guardians, Sox, Guardians, Jays, White Sox.
Mhm.
I mean, is that the team we're circling right now? Like Murakami and shit? I don't know. But all in all, like, I'm happy with the Yankees right now. Starting
Yes.
pitching looks great. The Fried news wasn't terrible. I don't know what the recent, kind of update on him is, but I'm happy with it. You can't be upset with a sweep, Rob.
Yeah.
And the Yankees had some good pictures appear in the Tampa series, even though, they didn't take the series, obviously.
Yeah. So moving in when we were last on this pod, Freed, we knew what happened with him in that Baltimore game, and then we knew he was going to miss time.
Mhm.
And the specifics regarding it is that he got then placed on the 15-day IL with a bone bruise in his left elbow, and the early indication was that he avoided the ligament damage, but they were again evaluating him and double checking on things. Essentially, it's a bone bruise from overuse.
Well, yeah,
And
I knew he had the bruise and he avoided like TJ, but like
yeah,
what is a bone
so
bruise in the
I
elbow,
think
dude?
I
What
think
how
what
long does
they're
that take?
I think
That's
what
what I'm
there's
saying.
usually when you get a bone bruise, I think the idea behind it is if like a physical object, this case a baseball, or maybe
Yeah,
you collide into someone, and if it's in another sport, and then that's how you are getting the bone bruise. But in
but
this
his is
case, it was from
overuse.
overuse, and I
That's
think
scary.
the reevaluation was seeing if there's any like loose bone spurs in the like is are there
Oh,
bone
so
spurs
good,
in the
dude.
equation, which we know can then lead to darker things. But at least at this
That's where
point,
Rodon just came back from.
yes, and he was though Max Fried this past Monday was throwing the baseball.
Yep, I saw that.
So he was, and they're just. I think they're going to be taking it very carefully, and especially when you have now Cole back, and then you have Cam Schlittler in the mix. That gives you, and I mean, that's if Cole pitches the way that he is, that's two additional aces. At one point, you could have three aces with Fried
I
that makes you
couldn't believe
daydream.
what Cole did the other day,
And
honestly.
so some of the quotes that recently came out from Boone, there's nothing really that would say he can start his ramp up process just yet. And then don't read far into that. He's doing his plyos and stuff. He's had a pretty good week overall as far as symptoms and feeling pretty good and responding to everything pretty well. But he's not at a point where he can start ramping things up. So that's where it is. It's and
Cool.
listen, we knew it's going to be something that would probably take between 5, 6, 7 weeks,
Yeah,
and
so I'm
it's
gonna guess end of June at best.
yes, or honestly, I would say if I'm perfectly okay with
Sit him until
them
July.
sit him until August. I really
Yeah,
think that is a case for me that and that's sort of a
because
luxury that
you
it's
know what
sort
I
of a
think it
luxury they
is too.
have.
Yeah, they do because they have four aces essentially,
Hmm.
or three aces and a one B ace.
Yeah.
Um, I think they're because that's kind of the playbook the Dodgers have taken the last 2 years essentially. They kind of like Blake Snell, goes on the IL for half the year. Glass now goes on the IL for three-quarters of the year. Otani doesn't pitch till the end. Like they kind of baby their starters around, which kind of makes sense. That way they're fresh in the postseason. They can come out and pitch back-to-back days and be crazy like Yamamoto. We saw the Yankees last year. Their starters died at the end, in the postseason. Like
Hmm.
Rodon's velo was way down because his elbow had bone spurs in it, and Fried stuff was getting ripped around.
Hmm.
So it could be a product of like throwing 400 innings combined. I'm not sure. So kind of to our point, and I'm landing the plane here. Um, I also don't think I would mind him just like being healthy and
And,
sitting
and two
for a
and
minute.
and two
If the
we're
Yankees have the luxury to do that.
yeah. And two, we're forgetting that maybe, and they have Weathers, they
Yep.
have Will Warren,
Weathers
who's
has looked
pitched
good.
well. They've both looked good. Now Cole looking good. So there's a lot of months left too. And we can also remember there hasn't been any significant updates around him. But we forget too, Clark Schmidt will be potentially coming back around that time. We'll see how his
I
season
forgot about
develops.
Clark,
And
dude.
you forget how that can transpire. And then we know that they have They've called up Elmer Rodriguez when Fried went down. They put him back. They then sent him back to AAA after Cole comes back. But they do have a little room to play around. And there is a luxury at this point. We hope that Carlos Rodon, his first few starts were not the best, but he could kick it back into gear. So when it comes to the Max Fried stuff, at first it was very, very scary.
Yeah.
But the Yankees are in a position where they can allow him to miss time, him to get right, and we're hoping that whatever it is that's going on in that elbow, hopefully it's not any bone spurs or anything more dramatic than just a bone bruise, and he can get back when he needs to. And then, as you said, that's a very good comparison that the Dodgers have just pieced it together, and they have the talent around, and they have the talent in the farm system.
They can bridge it.
They can bridge it, and then you bring him in, and then, as you said, where they kind of ran out of gas last season, Fried is then more so in the process of what kind of Cole is doing right now, and he's getting himself back, and then maybe he would be just right for end of September into October. So it was a little scary, but I don't think Yankee fans, they avoided disaster at this moment in time. Knock on wood. Hopefully it stays that way.
I'm not going to, I really should even put this into the universe, but like, sorry, it's just, I shouldn't even say it. Like Cam shouldn't take any time off because he's going to win the Cy Young if he just pitches the rest of the year. Mm-hmm. But like, no harm in skipping a start there either. I don't think for a dude that's never thrown this many innings.
Yes,
it kind of can't happen.
Yeah. So other news going, as I said, Elmer Rodriguez was called up, then sent back down after Gerrit Cole was up. We'll talk a little bit about Gerrit Cole and how fantastic he's looked. Some news on Giancarlo Stanton. So Boone recently said that he's been given the green light to begin his running. So soon we can maybe see Stanton, maybe in the month of June. I'm hoping that we
probably
can see
2
that.
weeks, I would think.
Yeah, so we'll see.
He's been hitting.
He's been hitting in the bull, and he's been taking BP. He's been doing that. So it was all about just can he move his legs, and that's what we're waiting for. Jason Dominguez may also be in a position to start taking live BP next week, advancing him along from the recovery with the AC joint sprain in his left shoulder. So he'll probably need to take a rehab stint before he gets activated. So
if he comes back that way, you think he's going to come right back to the league?
Yeah, that's the thing. So if it all depends on how everything shakes out, because again,
start playing games.
Spencer Jones was also sent back down after they activated Cabby off the IL, and I made this point last podcast that I saw him being sent. Like I didn't think he would spend too much time up in the big leagues, but I thought
he was just here because Jason was hurt.
And I thought it was a good thing though that they gave him the experience this early 100%. On, and just give him.
While they're playing well,
because we saw it, like we heard as not as avid AAA or minor league baseball watchers, but we had heard and seen the stats and read up on him about his like how he strikes out a lot, and we saw it firsthand on a lot of these series. But he did have some contributions, like in the Subway Series, he did something in Milwaukee. So he's learned, he got a grasp of what it is, and then he'll come back hopefully better next time around. And then also news talk about AAA. I think in the last week, George Lombard hit his first home run, so he'll be getting it going maybe. Mm-hmm. So we'll keep tabs on that a little bit and see how the rest of the positions kind of progress. But let's quickly run through the series. I mean, both of these, or two of the games, as I mentioned earlier in the pod, were just kind of laughers. But the first game was played on Memorial Day. This one was Will Warren on the mound, 6 innings pitched, 2 earned runs, 3 walks, 3 strikeouts. In this one, we saw a Cody Bellinger home run. Jose Caballero back, gets in a run to make it singles in Anthony Volpe. And Anthony Volpe was doing a lot of stuff on the bases in this series as a whole, and it's been really nice to see him hopefully maybe putting it together, and we'll see, and we'll kind of talk more in detail about that.
I'm rooting for good players to play well, man.
Good players to play. We just need good players. And then Kansas City in the bottom of the second make it a 2-1 game after a Massey sacrifice fly. Salvi Perez ties the game in the bottom of the 6th, and then Bobby Witt Jr. actually puts the Royals up in the bottom of the 8th, and then Anthony Volpe with runners on knocks in Schumann and Jazz Chisholm in to make it a 4-3 game, and David Bednar saves the game there. Good outing by Tim Hill and Bednar in this one.
Bednar looked good finally.
Also Hedrick, and then Jake Bird was the one who gave up the home run to Bobby Witt Jr. But this was one of the closer ones, and then following in the other games, game two was a 15-1 game. Cam Schlittler, 6 innings pitched, 4 hits, 1 earned earned runs, 6 strikeouts. This was actually, funny enough, the first time in franchise history where all 9 starters for the Yankees each have 2 hits.
Yeah.
So that was kind of a cool one. I mean, we saw a
It's
Bellinger
kind of
home run.
nuts, honestly.
It was nuts. We saw a Bellinger home run. We saw a Rosario home run. We saw a Volpe home run. We also saw a Jazz home run, a Grisham home run. So a lot of scoring in this. A
You get a
lot of
hit.
scoring.
You
You
get a
get a
hit.
hit. You get a hit. Yeah, it's the Oprah meme. And then game number 3, where Gerrit Cole 6 and 2/3, 4 hits, 0 earned runs, 10 strikeouts for Cole. And we'll talk
Dude,
a little
I
bit more.
couldn't believe it.
We'll talk a little bit
And
more
I
in
shouldn't
detail.
even say that.
But just how fast we're seeing it is pretty nuts. It's pretty nuts to see how fast the turnaround is.
I just expected him to have like,
Struggle.
not even just like, I don't know, like you come in 5 and 2/3, you give up 2 solo shots, you walk 4 batters, you struck out 5.
Yeah.
Like you're just like getting your feet wet. He just
Mhm.
comes in like it's some Royals, man. It's a
Yeah.
good team to face when you're coming back.
And this was more of a Ben Rice game. He had three RBIs, had a triple in the top of the fourth to start the scoring. Also, Goldschmidt having a nice little time. They've been DHing Ben Rice and playing
Yep.
Paul Goldschmidt at first base more often. So we've been seeing that formula. As long as Stanton is out, that'll probably change once he's back. So
Mhm.
we'll see that as well. Ryan McMahon hits a home run in this one to maybe boost some confidence. I don't know. We also saw, as Volpe is now back, we
Maybe
saw
boost some confidence. I don't
maybe
know.
we'll see. We've seen in 2 different instances. I believe it was in this series and maybe one in the Rays series. We saw, well, this game specifically, we saw Jose Caballero play left field. Then we saw Jose Caballero and also in a couple games play third base, and then Anthony Volpe playing shortstop. We also saw them give Volpe a day off. I think it was in the Rays series where they play then once Cabby got back. I think it was that first game where Cole made his debut, where they played Cabby at shortstop and gave Anthony Volpe the day off there. And as long as Volpe is playing well, he will be getting those spot starts. But I think, or those starts at shortstop. But the luxury of having, like, he couldn't have really asked for a better situation to then come back, at least when you look at the player
Yeah.
of Jose Caballero, because it's not as if they are both the same thing in strictly being shortstops. And Boone has talked about it many times that you can play Jose Caballero at many different positions. Like the only
And
two
they do
positions.
want to do that, I think.
Yeah, I think the only 2 positions you really can't play him at are probably what, first base and catcher, and
Catcher.
maybe
Yeah. I
so
mean, third, second, short, every outfield spot. Yeah.
yeah, so that's kind of the luxury, at least for Anthony Volpe, and that gives him a runway to do what he's doing now. And we'll talk a little bit more in
Play
detail
well.
about that.
Yeah.
Um, Actually, that segues nicely into my Savage of the Series. Anthony Volpe in this series goes for
What a guy.
4 hits, 1 double, a home run, and 5 runs scored. I'm gonna give him his respect while he's doing this, because
Good for
you
you,
gotta
Rob.
give him credit. You
Yeah.
gotta own up to what he's doing. He has 9 hits on the year, 1 home run, 7 RBIs, 2 stolen bases, has a 838 OPS. Also, he's been walking a lot so far. 9 walks on the year as well. And
Nine
I'm
walks, 10 Ks. That's good. Let's keep them even as we can.
and I think so. He's playing well. I'm not
But he's
going
done this before for 3 weeks.
exactly. That's the
So
thing.
let's see it for 7.
That's where I say I give him a ton of credit for the way he's coming up. He's playing
Yep.
well. He's now been in 35 at bats. He has an 838 OPS. That's wonderful, wonderful to see. But
The
as you
409 OBP is beautiful.
it's beautiful. But as you've mentioned, we've seen this story now over and over again. We've seen it for the previous 3 seasons that he's played. And yes,
Yeah.
we get it.
Saw it in the World Series run too.
He is now supposed to be playing healthy. He's fixed that shoulder. It's now, like, we've
Been
seen
in the
it
league
plenty
for
from
4 goddamn years.
we've seen it from many of the Volpe defenders online talking in the comments. That's fine that he is now healthy and we're gonna maybe see a different player. I just really can't buy into it until we see multiple, I would say, months of baseball, because the formula or the story that he has been, it falls in line of what we've seen. So I don't want to. I want to really pay him his respect in this regard, but I also am not getting I- I'm not getting too excited about it. I really can't.
Yeah.
And Yankee fans, just we got to see it. We got to see what he can do for bring this into August, dude. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. And that
Yep.
may say, okay, then I'll start saying, all right, maybe we're seeing a different Anthony Volpe. But to this point, it really follows the line of what he's typically done in his career, where we've seen the 2-3 week stretches, and then he just teeters off for even longer and has a worse stretch. So, but
Yeah.
he's played well in these last weeks.
Yeah, it's really just about like the lows cannot be rock bottom, the pit of the earth. It's
Mm.
that simple. You cannot absolutely cannonball to an abyss when you're struggling a little bit. Like at least when Cabby struggles, I mean, you kind of just hope the dude gets on base because his wheels, you know. But good for you, Rob, for giving Volpe his flowers. I did not expect that to come out of your mouth today, if I'm being honest. So I'm happy for that. I'm gonna shout out Ben Rice because he went through like not a struggle bus period, but like he had his little injury where he sat for a few days or whatever, and he kind of like was just not dominating like he was that first 4 weeks of the year. Had a really good series, but that's just a shout out. I feel like I have to just by default, like one, give it to Gerrit Cole because Gerrit Cole interviews are back, which like you just gotta
Awesome.
you just gotta love. Um, and really seals the deal here in the game to give you the sweep 6 2/3 4 hits 10 Ks, no walks, Rob. 79 pitches. I mean, dude, the dude arguably, if he was throwing 105 pitches, which there's no reason for him to do right now, complete game, 15K day, who knows the way that game was going. So I'm going to give it to Gerrit Cole more of just like as a further morale booster for that man. Not that he needs it because it seems like he's just so calculated and everything. But you really could give this award to a number of people this series, but I'm
Cam
gonna give it to
Schlittler
Garrett.
too. And I
Yep,
I think
Cam.
that I think that though, Tyler, is that I mean, we were talking about we haven't yet seen Max Fried and Garrett Cole pitch together. But now you're
Now
seeing
it's Schlittler too.
Schlittler in that mix, and you're seeing now we get to watch Schlittler and Garrett Cole, and it's sort of the old guard with then the new face to the potential ace of the Yankees, and that is, I mean, we saw last year many times like Garrett Cole because he was around the team in the ear of Cam Schlittler. We saw there's photos of them warming up and all that, and so it's pretty freaking cool to see those two in a rotation. And what I would say with Garrett Cole, and we've made this point before on this podcast too, is that, and I think I texted it to you the other day when I was like, Garrett Cole is just a beast, is we've seen numerous times pitchers who have come back from TJ or significant injuries. It's as if they sometimes are just getting a new arm in a way, and they could end up being a better version of themselves than we've seen. And I think that there's obviously it's only been 2 starts. We need to see Garrett Cole go through a full season, but we've seen it
But his
before with
velocity's there too,
we've
bro.
seen it before with other pitchers. We've seen it before with Justin Verlander. We've seen it before with Jacob deGrom. We've seen these pitchers take time to get back and be a new
Like
version of
DeGrom's
themselves.
nasty.
Yeah,
Chris
and
Sale too, I think, right?
Chris Sale as well.
Yeah.
You've seen guys come back and be better, almost better versions of themselves. And I think, yes, that news of Garrett Cole a year ago was extremely devastating and they missed him for a year. And that was very unfortunate. But we could be looking at a situation as Garrett Cole, and we know the work ethic is just unbelievable with him. And he worked himself back. There's a good chance we could be seeing a really, really good version of Garrett Cole. And I'm as fans, you got to be excited about that.
Yeah. I'm pumped for Garrett Cole, man. I listened to it on Twitter. Some article about doctors virtually saying when you get Tommy John, especially with this new like the brace procedure or whatever that speeds up that recovery even more and has a little more, I guess protection or whatever the correct term would be, is virtually the way I interpreted it from what the Twitter doctor was saying was like an actual doctor, not just like
Not Twitter
right,
doctor, but
not
he has
not
a
really
Twitter
Twitter.
account.
Yeah, he's like an MD on Twitter. But he was virtually like your UCL is stronger than it's ever been. Like 2 years post TJ, 18 months post TJ, because before that, you're just kind of deteriorating your arm over time, for the last, how old is Gerrit Cole? 36, 37. So the
Yeah.
last, easily 20 years of his life, he's just been ripping into his elbow. And now he's got arguably the freshest friggin' elbow he's
Ha-
had. 'Cause
Yeah.
what do they do? Don't they pull a tendon from somewhere else, like in your leg or some
I
shit?
I think so, and then it's like a replacement procedure at least.
Yeah.
Probably the
Yeah.
Twitter doctor knows better than us.
Yeah, but that's crazy. Like, right? Like, it kind of makes sense though. Like, you get this new UCL essentially, and now it should be stronger than than the last one almost.
Yeah,
So
nuts.
very cool.
Hasn't given up a run on the year. Now has a 1-0 record, has 12 strikeouts, pitched 12 and two-thirds. So Gerrit Cole looking good. I think he's lined up to, I think he will be pitching. Oh, he will be missing the Boston series. But I think his next time to pitch will be this upcoming Wednesday. So he won't be pitching this weekend. This weekend it'll be Rodon, Weathers, and Warren, and then Schlittler and Cole. And that's kind of cool to have Schlittler and Cole back to back.
Yeah,
Gives you a
100%.
lot of confidence, man. And I think that is going to be. And I mean, we could talk a little bit too about Cam Schlittler. Cam Schlittler now is. I think Cam Schlittler. It's not a debate. I think Cam Schlittler has strongly solidified himself as the AL Cy Young leading candidate in the pack. Has a 7-2 record, a 1.5 ERA, pitched 72 innings, 81 strikeouts, a 0.85 WHIP, and we are seeing him with each start just continue to blossom into this stellar pitcher, right? And
Best pitcher in the AL,
and
basically.
you really, with Max Fried going down, you couldn't have asked for a better backup situation, backup plan with Schlittler pitching the way he is. And I've said it numerous times, and I mean, it's different if Gerrit Cole is pitching. It may be a little different if Gerrit Cole is pitching this way, but I have the utmost confidence in this guy going out. He's a big. It seems like he's a big game pitcher. He's done it before now in such an early point in his career. He's only 25, but with each start, man, he shows swagger. He shows an ability. He shows a great new pick. He's leveraging a good pitch mix, and he just each start, man, he just gets better and better. It's crazy to
It's
see.
insane. I mean, since he literally stepped on the mound in the big leagues, he's been dominant.
Mhm. Yeah.
Postseason, the whole shebang. He's thrown 145 innings to a 2.23 ERA. Like what? 184 ERA plus 10.2 strikeouts per nine. Cam is
Nuts.
very good, man. Should I even like Tariq Skubal? I mean, like, come on.
Listen,
Like the rich get richer.
yeah, the numbers are crazy how it's comparable to what Skeens has done, and we think of
Hmm.
Skeens in such a high regard because he was the
Well,
bigger.
I'm saying trade for Skubal, but
Oh,
Skeens did that shit
yeah,
too.
yeah. Well, I'm just saying, thinking about Schlittler in that light. I know the Tariq Skubal
Just the rental,
trade.
just for the
Yeah,
postseason.
I listen. The rich get richer. I think who was it? I can't remember who it was on
Makes
Twitter,
sense. I
but
think it could happen.
he made a good point that that's sometimes what the Dodgers do is
Yeah.
that they will to not only just to improve their own team, but let's just get this guy off the market so we don't have to deal with someone else
Yeah.
having
So we
him and
don't have to
seeing him in
face
a
Tariq
series.
Skubal.
And
Yeah.
that was one of the points that I made in the offseason where the Yankees at one point, I would love to see them do it now, is that they would leave no doubt and they would scoop up the pit. Like, did they need an Alex Rodriguez back in the day? But no,
Yeah.
the rich get richer. Like the
Or even
rich
like
get
an Edwin Encarnacion in 2018 when he was like
yeah.
leading league in home runs. They're like, we'll get that guy. He's terrible in the playoffs, but
And
act that way.
yeah, he was terrible in the playoff, but I mean for that 2019 season, he was excellent. So
Did hit like 40 something homers that
yeah,
that year.
so that's it's a good point. We'll save that for August, but I do
Yeah.
think that it's interesting what they may do because I thought he was like a prime. I mean, he may be a prime candidate to go to the Mets in a signing, but
Yeah.
I mean I don't know if they would trade for him. I could see the Dodgers getting funky. They're always in play. Um, really quick, let's do our Savage Slump Watch.
Mistake.
I'm going to go with Jake Bird in this series. He gave up that home run to Bobby Witt Jr. in the first one, but thanks to Anthony Volpe, they did not they did not go ahead and lose that one. But if you out of this series, I know it's hard to do it in a sweep. Was there any? It could just be any of the players that are maybe struggling, or anyone that kind of is on your radar to really improve. I think I have one in mind that you may be mentioning that we've
Mm,
talked about
I
quite a.
mean, Austin Wells is
Yeah,
obviously there.
yeah.
I kind of wanted to give it to Doval because I put him in like the Greg Bird or the Jake Bird basket at this point. Greg Bird. But yeah, man, Wells has been absolutely terrible. And I don't really know what you do, to be honest. Like, are you
Yeah.
really going to trade for a catcher? I don't know. I like there is a level of value to how good defensively and how good of a framer he is, and he also like he controls the pitching staff well for whatever that means. However you quantify that. But you got two black holes in the lineup. You got to do something with one of them.
Hmm.
McMahon, Wells, not good. Like Wells, like I mean, we're talking like Anthony Volpe type stuff here. 176, 288, 275, 60 OPS plus. That's honestly mean to say. It's not even Anthony Volpe type stuff. That's Jay Bruce as a first baseman type stuff on the Yankees. So go to Austin Wells, man.
I know the one speaking about the Austin Wells, I know the one trade target that was started to be talked about
It's
was Ryan
Jeffers or
Jeffers
whatever. Yeah,
from
but
the
he's
Twins,
hurt
but
now,
he just underwent surgery. I
which could be good for his market, honestly.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, with the Wells stuff, man, I've kind of gotten to the point where
It's okay to have one black hole in your lineup.
it
You
is.
can't have two and a half.
Yeah, it is. But then when you factor in McMahon, I don't.
Yeah,
I've
you
held
can't
out.
have two black holes.
I've held out hope for Austin Wells, and I just, as fans, I don't like. We've seen way more evidence. Like the 2024 season was great, but we've now to this point seen more evidence against that than for it.
Yeah.
Then
And he's
and
also only like I mean, dude, he had a 0 WAR last year for 126 games.
hmm
He averaged out as a non-factor.
yeah. That
That's terrible
and
to
that's going
say.
to stand out. That's going to stand out like a sore thumb. I wanted to get your opinion too, because the last time that we spoke was not. It was right before the Subway Series, and we saw that really bad walk off in that given up game by David Bednar.
Yeah,
What's your pulse on the closing situation? What's your pulse on that? I know there's not going to be any immediate trade stuff
yeah,
happening now because it's literally May, and you got to wait for things to happen and sort of formulate. But I know David Bednar, I'm still saying like he should be the closer, but it's
yeah,
certainly a point where he gives you anxiety, and maybe that's just
yeah.
how we're gonna have to live. And we were spoiled with Mo, and it's not gonna. It's just that's how you got to live with it, man.
We really were. And even, it's probably bad to say
With Miller
because he's
and
just,
Chapman and
well, we were kind of spoiled with
Bet,
Aroldis Chapman too, and everyone hated him, including
yeah,
myself. My pulse on the bullpen situation, Rob, is they're clearly going to try and acquire relievers. I think if a reliever presents itself that is better than David Bednar, Johan Duran, then I think they can. Then I think that's how you remove him from the closer, and he kind of takes Duvall's slot because Duvall, even though he's put together I think two nice outings in a row, or okay outings. I'm out on Duvall. I'm out, period, until he proves to me totally otherwise. Like, I am out on Camilo Duvall being a plus.
hmm
Kind of end of story at that point. So I do think they'll try and acquire relievers. It's not going to happen soon. I think the immediate thing to look for is, like, when's Giovanni Cruz coming back up? Dude threw freaking hard. Had, like, that nasty little cutter slider thing. They sent him back down. He only made two appearances, I think, two and a third inning pitch, maybe it was three. But he looked good. So I think Giovanni Cruz is probably the instant, like, you know, one that's going to shoot up and down the ladder. I think, I don't know though, man, because
Thank
it's
God for
like,
Tim Hill, man.
yeah, thank God for Tim Hill. Thank God for Brent Hedrick
Hedrick,
too,
yeah,
Um, and I know I've been on Fernando Cruz a little bit, like, because I was not in on, like, the way he pitched. Pitching well.
hmm
He's been well as of late too. So I think in the bullpen, man, you're really looking at Tim Hill, Cruz, Hedrick, Bednar. Tim Hill, Hedrick, Cruz, Bednar. So that's four. They have like four real relievers, and then like you got to group like Duvall, Blackburn, Yarby, and Jake Bird into like a weird bucket, and then Blackburn and Yarborough are just like the same thing, kind of. So I don't really know what like you don't need both of them.
Mhm.
So this is just me spieling on the bullpen. I don't know. It's just when they decide to bring LeGrand up, what role is that going to play? What is he going to look like? Like I feel like there's a lot of stock in him.
Yeah.
Um,
So that
and there
was that.
should be.
That was the big news that I think it was from Joel Sherman that they were talking about. There's ongoing discussions about bringing up LeGrand for the bullpen from Brian Cashman and the front office. And with where the bullpen is now, and it's not as if it's DEFCON 1, but it's certainly
It's overused too,
it's overused, and it's clearly
which
the
is bad
weakest.
because they're pitching as well.
It's
It's good.
It's clearly the weakest point in the team, and I
Clearly,
think
yes.
they know that that's something to address. And while they've been the quote unquote urgent Yankees of 2026, is this another
Yeah.
part where they say, hey, we may really want LeGrand to develop as a starter, but also this bullpen is in a
Isn't a bad
difficult
idea.
spot, and we think that his stuff can play, and his stuff can be very effective in the bullpen, and we want to go out there and win. And it may be a situation where the fans crying at the start of the year then makes it what I mean. And it's not how that decision's being made, but how we were all sort of collectively saying, LeGrand would be a pretty good option for the bullpen, and clearly the Yankees also are recognizing that. And so now with this report from Joel Sherman, I think it was either yesterday or earlier today, it's going to be something I think that eventually happens. It really is, because
Yeah. It's going to happen. There's no doubt in my mind.
There's we got like 2 months of baseball until any real trade deadline stuff of significance, like a Duran or anything of that.
Yeah, you got at least a month.
So
yeah.
it's I think it's going to happen. I think it's going to happen.
Yeah, it's going to happen. So it's LeGrand, and who are they going to get from outside? It's LeGrand, Yvonne Cruz, I think, is going to play a role, and who are they going to get from the outside? Like I don't even think Duvall has a role. Like I think they want to have a role on this team. I just have a feeling it's not. It's just going to dwindle out. Like you can't do this forever.
Yeah.
But then also like there is a Ryan Weathers question. Like is that dude part of the bullpen? But like. I don't know.
That just depends
man.
on Freed.
I know it depends on Freed. Like, I'm thinking like September and like end of August into October bullpen. Like, is Weathers part of that plan? Because if he pitches the way he's pitched through the first 8 weeks of the year, like, he probably should be starting. He's arguably had 2 really bad games and a bunch of really good ones. That's not, and it's like, that's so disrespectful to Will Warren, because like Will Warren's been great as well. So I don't know.
Clark Schmidt,
The pulse is like, I don't know. Yeah, Clark, dude, I can't even point my mind at Clark Schmidt yet. Honestly.
No, I know that's distant. That's distant talk.
And there's also just there's too many pitchers. Like,
yeah,
Clark is not a reliever.
No, and we saw him in the 2022 playoffs try and come out of the pen. It was not ideal. So but when the bullpen is in this situation, you gotta throw things out and see what what go along. Let's talk about a couple other parts of this lineup, and then we'll get out of here. Who's been playing a lot better recently has been Jazz Chisholm Jr. He right now for the season has a 724 OPS, a 324 on base percentage. So we like that. Getting those numbers up, 6 home runs, 20 RBIs. We know he had a home run in Kansas City. I believe he had a home run in the Toronto series. He had that one off the foul pole, hit that one Oppo Taco a little bit. So Jazz is getting things back into gear, and we've said it. He's a big, important piece in this lineup, especially once then you start going down the line, and he's sort of in that
he's
5-6
really the best
area.
6 hitter you could possibly have.
Yes,
so it's
and
great if he's on. If he's not, he's a streaky player, is what I've swallowed.
Yes, but we just can't like. He was a pedestrian 650 OPS guy. We cannot have that. He needs to be living he needs to be living well above the 700 mark. Hopefully he gets back to what he was at the 8 mark. But if the Yankees want to,
honestly too.
I hope so. If the Yankees want to have success, that guy needs to be 25 home runs, close to 70 RBIs, 70, 80 RBIs. And that's when the Yankees will have championship hopes, and Jazz playing good defense at second base. And I mean, if he wants to make his money, that's
100%.
what he's going to have to do. And then also
And
too, no, go ahead.
well, I was just gonna say if I don't know if you were still staying on Jazz, but Belly's been
Oh,
unbelievable.
I was going to talk about Belly. Belly has
Nice.
been,
I mean, dude, he's like been unbelievable. I mean, it's just kind of 3.2 WAR on the season, just like quietly doing it all. Obviously, the defense speaks for itself, but 271, 373 on base, 487 slug, 860 OPS, 141 OPS plus. And then I will also quietly, in the same breath, mildly, very mildly, shout out Trent Grisham. Last year, he had 9 doubles the whole year. He already has 9 doubles, Rob, and 7 homers. So I understand the batting average is not there. The slug is not all the way there. I don't think he's going to squander into nothing, which I did think for a little bit, which is a plus. So I'd like to shout them both out.
yeah. Uh, Trent's been playing a lot better, and it's good to see. With Bellinger, though, I think that
Goldie good too.
to this point, and he's bouncing around a little bit, but I feel like I'd have to look further into the breakdowns, but I know that he's been like hitting a lot of cleanup this year, but they kind of
Yeah.
move him back and forth, and you can play him at so many different positions, and this is the reason why you gave him that money, and this
Leads
is
the
the
team in
reason
WAR by a lot.
that he was
Position
this
players.
important that okay, we knew the defense was going to stay what it is and he's a stellar defender, and then it was okay, we hope that that offense doesn't dip down to what it was in some of the worst LA Dodgers seasons or some of the more disappointing seasons throughout his career. And this year to have that 860 OPS, 8 home runs, 36 RBIs, and I don't want to say it now because there's a lot of season left, but there were a ton of Yankee fans crying that they had to sign Kyle Tucker. Kyle Tucker now for the year, 743 OPS, 4 home runs, 26 RBIs, a
Not on
345
Kyle
on base
Tucker.
percentage. Now, while I do think Kyle Tucker is a good player, I'm not discounting and he could end up having a good season. But if you look at the dollar amount and the dollar commitment, and I know it's a short-term deal for Kyle Tucker, but that is a monstrous contract for now what Cody Bellinger is giving you in a still a big contract, but he's giving you better production for less money. And I just like to point that out because we were talking about it many times on this podcast over the offseason. While I did
Yep.
say, yes, sure, Kyle Tucker is the higher upside hitter. He is a good hitter. He can hit you 30, 40 home runs a year. I totally respect that. But we can't just sit here and discount what Cody Bellinger did, especially when he was hitting in Yankee Stadium and he plays excellent defense at 4 different positions. It's important to have. And to this point, I know there's a couple more years on a contract, but he's pretty good. Cody Bellinger is
Yeah.
pretty good. So
Yeah. Belly is pretty good, Rob. And
pretty
Kyle
good.
Tucker, man, I mean, I feel like he hasn't been like this absolute stud of a hitter since like 2024.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, he had a good year last year. He also got benched and was like
He
not
hated
that good for
sounded like he
quite a
hated
long
playing
time.
baseball or something, right? That
Yeah.
was
He didn't like playing baseball. So I'd like to think Cody Bellinger likes to play baseball.
Yep.
But yeah, man, Belly 3.2 WAR. Just to like put that into comparison, like Judge sitting at a 2.2 WAR, Ben Rice a 1.8. So Belly quietly like just being great.
No, it's awesome. Okay, so this weekend the Yankees will play in Sacramento against the Athletics. Tonight it's Carlos Rodon on the mound. As I said a little earlier, Weathers Warren will be pitching this weekend, and then they play a homestand for next week versus Cleveland and Boston. Boston at the bottom of the AL East. You hate to see it. Just kidding. You love to see
Yep.
it. Cam Schlittler will be pitching against them on Sunday night, so that will be versus early. So it'll be. I think that was the. Yeah, was that the AL wild card matchup or no? Yeah, I think that
What?
was early. Was I think that was who pitched that game 3. So and then Cole will pitch that game after. So a little bit of a homestand coming up, but I think the Athletics definitely with that lineup are not something to be. I think they're a better team than what KC is.
Hey, I've said it a few times. The A's can bang.
The A's can definitely hit, so it'll be an interesting series, and it'll be a good test for this pitching staff. And hopefully, we'll see Carlos Rodon get back on track. We haven't talked too
Yeah.
much about him, but I mean, it's only been 2 starts for him. Or
Kind of
excuse
what did
me,
I
3
expected out of
starts.
Rodon?
Yeah, I
Yeah, I
think
feel like it takes him a minute.
it's going to take him a little bit of time. I mean, he has a what is it, a 4.15 ERA, 0-2 record. But it takes him a little bit of time to get in a groove. So I'm going to
I
give
feel
him
like
some
he's a
time
big
before I
confidence
start.
guy.
Yeah, give him some time before sounding the alarm or anything. Okay, so that's it for episode number 244. Make sure you subscribe if you're watching on YouTube, on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Go subscribe on all those platforms and follow us Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Threads, all of the different platforms. Go Yankees! Let's go see a series win this weekend, and also the New York Knicks are playing in the NBA Finals. New York is
Let's
buzzing. It's
go.
a good
Nick's just
time.
playing too.
He is playing. He had pinky surgery, but hopefully we'll see him continue out there because what a warrior. What a warrior. So that's it for episode 244. We'll catch you at 245. Peace.